Well, happy Sunday. Time for the weekend video. Get ready. Well, for the past several weeks in our Powercast, we have been doing a series on the gospel of peace. One of the topics that Mike and Barris have been addressing is the former anger of God. And there's a number of reasons why they're addressing it. A lot of people in this world believe that God is still angry. There's a lot of people in this world coming to understand the gospel of grace and that God is not angry at us, and that in his grace and loving kindness at the cross that we are all saved or going to be saved. And so for those people coming to that understanding, a lot of those people are starting to realize that God is not angry. Even though they used to be taught that God was angry, they are now finding out that God is not angry, and then they're jumping to conclusions that God was never angry. And this is fundamentally because they don't understand the gospel of peace. See, Paul, when he referred to the gospel, he referred to it as the gospel of grace, and he referred to it as the gospel of peace. The peace part is very important because the gospel of peace is the good news of now there's peace, and peace between God and man. God is at peace with all of humanity. And that's news, because at one time he was not. And but this was prophesied in Isaiah when Jesus would come and fulfill his work at the cross, that the gospel of peace would be established. And in Isaiah, God promised that he would never be angry again. And so then the folks who are defending this argument that God was never angry, some of them are saying that, well, the anger that you read about in the Old Testament, that was just coming from a human perspective. They perceived it as anger and as wrath, but that was only their faulty human perception. And the argument itself is faulty, because throughout the Old Testament, when prophets were speaking for God in the first person voice of God, they were saying, my wrath, my anger, my wrath will be kindled. My anger is kindled. My wrath will wax hot, and my wrath will be poured out. This is God speaking through his prophets, saying this himself. He took ownership of his wrath and his anger. So anybody who's saying that God was never angry, then they need to take that up with God. They need to go to the Old Testament, read the prophecies. These are quotes of God speaking through his prophets in his first person voice. But the very good news is he hasn't been angry for 2,000 years and will never be angry with humanity ever, ever again. He will not be wrathful with humanity ever again. He will not cause calamities on the earth. He won't cause mountains to move, rains to fall or not fall, anything like that. That's all in there, and in Isaiah when he was talking about when his covenant of peace would be established. And the gospel of peace is the good news that that covenant of peace was established 2,000 years ago at the cross. It's revolutionary. I know. Have a revolutionary week.